Good afternoon, live from the Waldorf Hotel in London. It's Simon Whale on his latest Kerfuffle panel discussion show with absolutely blue blood royalty here. The award rooms would be running dry of Mr. Sheen. They've got so many trophies amongst them all. We have Asad Riaz. Fantastic to have you here today, sir. You all right?
Yeah, very well, thanks.
Excellent. Here we are. Location. We have Lars, the architect and co-founder as well here of obviously of Area. Great to have you on.
Thank you, Simon. Thanks for having me.
And Spencer with a quiff that should be in Zoolander, the fantastic Paramount property. How are you, sir?
Fantastic, thank you. Hello, everyone.
Good.
Hi, Spencer. How are you?
You're looking at, again, I'm not surprised here. Why can't you have the decency, Spencer, to chub out like the rest of us in lockdown? You know, are the 15,000 calories a day not starting to add up?
Working very hard on my fitness at the moment. So
disgusting. Okay, well, you lost me there. That's it. Forget that.
Let's move on swiftly.
We're not here to talk about that.
Yeah.
Unless automation is a key thing. Unless you know how to automate an exercise regime, then I'm very
Get on the Peloton, Simon. Get on your Peloton. Yeah. Turn your legs round occasionally.
Yeah. That actually, they were not distracting here. I've used it once and bought it.
And I've seen that on the leaderboard.
That's the problem with following people on stuff like this. Anyway, there's the intro's done. Right. Okay. Well, today, last time we had you on, Lars, obviously we were talking about Area, and it was very much an introduction to people who didn't know it. And what we said we always like to do is that we then obviously like to have on the people who ultimately are using the service there to talk about their own experiences. And that is very much the case here. And the first thing I'll kick off with, as much as I was joking about at the beginning, I think you can read a lot into a product or service based on the early adopters. And without blowing too much smoke, you must be very happy, Lars, to have the likes of Asad and Spencer on at such an early stage and giving you fantastic feedback.
Yeah, that's very true, Simon. A really good point. I think when we decided to make it a standalone product and go to market, it was never really a full market launch. We wanted to approach, I guess, friendly, but more importantly, like-minded estate agents that would, get the benefits that we thought the product would offer. And obviously, the likes of Paramount and location fall right into that space. And absolutely, who better to have two great independents like location, Paramount using the product, enjoying it, becoming an integral part of their business, I hope. And absolutely the forefront of how well the software's gone.
And could you just give me a briefest of kind of as to what Area is all about?
Yes. So it's a cloud-based platform, and ultimately it's there to help agents interact digitally with their customers. And how we're doing that, we're automatically responding to all new digital leads that land in the platform. We're then collecting the customer's availability, their search profile, and the key criteria around their search. And then we're also now suggesting alternative similar properties as well. So there's also property matching. So very much through the automation side of it, we're helping agents, really take the customer digital journey along as smoothly and as effectively as we possibly can.
And one of the things we talk to many companies. Some of them are sort of created in the, a bit of a techie ivory tower. They've had a great idea. They don't really know agency per se. And it takes a while to get that minimum viable product sorted out. One of the fantastic things, though, that I love about, I always deem you guys almost prop tech 3.0. This is real estate agents having a challenge within their own businesses and actually having the tools and resources these days to create solutions. So, you don't really have, there never is really so much of a thing as a minimum viable product because you're pretty well versed in knowing what the agents want.
Yeah, so primarily the product started, or the idea started within Keaton's estate agents, which some of you out there will be familiar with. And so that, and the products remain sort of in part in association with Keaton's. A lot of the stuff that gets built and developed gets tested within Keaton's first. That's a really good place to see if an idea is worth running with. But yeah, primarily it was built within Keaton's, and built really just for Keaton's own sake, really, to help modernise their business, make sure they stayed ahead of the curve in terms of prop tech, and really bespoke their own lead management dashboard. But once we realised it was a product that could stand on its own 2 feet, that's when we started inviting friendly agents like location and board to test it as well. So, and it's gone from there. So yeah, it's I'm far from a techie, so don't worry, guys. It's not me who built it. Far from it. It's only my estate agent experience that I lend to the project. But yeah, no, you're right. It's not been built in some isolated tech tower that has no communication with estate agents and gets lost on the way because of that.
Well, don't worry about the technical knowledge. I can barely work Tinder. So, okay, Asad, can we start with you first? What was it that attracted you to Area then? What, I assume, obviously, that handling of the leads was a critical issue for you.
Yeah, I think lead handling has always been an issue for a state agency. And up until we spoke to Lars and Kaya Area, we were pretty much reliant on leads coming in via emails.
Yep.
And like I think it was Peter Knight did the data on it. 50% did that go unanswered.
Yes.
I wouldn't say ours was 50%, but did we really know how many fell through the net? Not really. And then when we had a look at the Area product, it was sort of just, it answered all the questions. It solved all the issues around lead management. You get absolute visibility on what's coming in, who's dealing with what, the timescales, what that particular customer's doing, what their requirements are. And then, like Lars said, the automation around that has just been, and they've continued to add features to that, like auto matching. So the product's just got better and better. So to us, it's a no-brainer. It's one of those bits of prop tech that actually solves a real life problem
that you actually like.
Yeah, absolutely. See the benefit, and over the last 2 years, there's been a tangible benefit to using Area.
That's really good to hear. Spencer, likewise. Look, your silence is telling me everything now, Spencer. Say, Spencer, do you agree as well? Is that very much the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, for us, for the insights piece, what did we have before? Which is really what we want prop tech to solve for us. Back end data has been key. I'm a data monster. It all sits in one place. If I want to go there, I know where to go. It's not en masse. It's nice, sort of easy bite-sized pieces. You can look at your inquiries in terms of peak times and days. So you actually know when to sort of have people there ready to deal with inquiries in your peaks, and on your troughs, you know that's the time you can be out showing these qualified, applicants. Obviously, lead source staff, SLAs, so service level agreements. I mean, not from a big brother element, but it definitely has tightened up the individual consultants' approach to their work. And actually, it's made them a little bit more accountable themselves. How each consultant is performing, and that's for them to look at as well, which is, is there anything they can change? It's, you could go through a sort of difficult patch, and I think Area, from a consultant's perspective, can actually point you in the right direction of where you need to make adjustments to try and create more successes. And then, a great bit of kit for us is, one of our issues, we just got too many leads. And, working with Area, they gave us, pointers in the right direction in terms of, if you go to these leads where they fill out some extra details about themselves, the data tells us they're 3 times more likely to end up moving into a new rented property from our perspective. So actually knowing where, it's a filtration system, but then it tells you where to go first as well. So lots of things from an insight perspective that we didn't have before that we now do. So it works from my perspective and also the individuals and the team perspective. So it's sort of a win-win-win situation. So I hope that helps in terms of, you know, what we did have and what it's given us.
I think that's really useful. And I think one of the key things I take from that, and I'm sure Lars will love to hear, is it sounds to me like sometimes us as principals can, depth charge solutions onto our teams, with the best of intentions, and we think it here. And actually, they never really get adopted in the way that we'd hope they had done as well. And it's a really key sign of a quality bit of normally tech solution, to be fair, when the teams actually find it useful as well, don't they? Because they can see the value in it. From what you're saying there, that sounds like it's very much the case.
Yeah, and I guess from the team's perspective is all of them are able to pick up the phone and speak to the team at area, so that it doesn't need to come through one channel. They've all got different ideas, and I think to feel like part of the process, area have been sort of super inclusive. They sent us they did an update recently. And they sent us a quick little video that we could share around the team. One person's got a question off the back of that. Then they don't come back to me or someone else. They just pick up the phone and speak to the area. So, they're just, they're nice people to deal with, and they understand, because obviously, the link with Keaton's. It means they understand the challenges that we're experiencing day to day. And feeling part of the process and it being progressive has been great for us.
I think what you also said there about that point about, interestingly enough, for a lot of the time, people are saying, how do I get more leads? How do I get more leads? But that just simply isn't the case for most agents at the moment, is it? And actually, I've made myself very unpopular with marketing departments over the years, saying, look, you simply aren't. You aren't short of leads at all. What you are short of is the ability to deal with the number of leads and to highlight and get to the hottest leads in the quickest possible time. And there's this horrible phrase, it's not just obviously from agency, but in particular where we deem them tire kickers, don't we? Where we, on a view of the lead form, we say, nah, it's a tire kicker, I won't get back to them. Well, by not getting back to them in the shortest possible time, you are pretty much guaranteeing they are going to be tire kickers, because as we know, speed of response in this day and age in particular is absolutely critical in terms of conversion, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's great. Well, that's really good to hear the sort of overview there, and I'm sure Lars likes to hear that from them. Could I ask you kind of specifically, start again just with you, Assad? Really, what do you feel like are the three key features that you like from the software itself, and how that benefits you?
I think the first one is the automation around allowing whoever's inquiring to complete more details, as in to self-register, and to let us know what times they are available. That alone saves them so much time. The other thing is we're able to manage the team's behaviours by using SLAs. The team are very, very clear as to, number one, how long they've got to respond to that lead, as in is it 15 minutes, is it 1 hour? Within that sort of time frame from that lead coming in, that lead needs to be responded to. And then moving on from that, within a 7-day period, we have certain sort of rules in place that need to be adhered to. So it manages their behaviour, it builds good habits for them as well. And I suppose the other one's the insights as well. Like Spencer mentioned, you can see the time of day your leads are coming in, you can see who's dealing with what, you can see how those leads have been dealt with. So the information it gives you, and then as a result of that, the decisions you can make are invaluable. I honestly don't know how we did it before we had Area.
I think I've actually just nicked that as a new catchphrase, really. If it's one of those solutions that you hear people say, I just wish I'd found it earlier. Again, that's a great litmus test, isn't it, for really good solutions of all sorts.
Yeah, and especially this year, as probably Lars and Spencer will testify, that the lead volume's just been immense, over double what we're normally used to. And I just don't think without this particular product, we would have been able to handle it at all. We would have probably sunk in leads. And what it has done is enable us to, even with aero, it was a challenge, but thank God we had it really this year.
But you're working on hard stats, aren't you? Useful information again there, rather than kind of a gut feel of I know that things aren't working right.
Yeah, you are. So yeah, exactly. You can see what's happening. You can see where the weak points are in the business in terms of handling leads, and you can make good decisions. So whether that's we need more resources, whether that's dealing with the leads at different times and rejigging the diaries and stuff like that. And because we have those insights, we've been able to do that and get on top of the volumes really.
Fantastic. Cheers, that said. Spencer, same question. Which 3 features appeals to you?
I think the simplicity of it, in terms of it's very, very user friendly, color coded. Your eyes move around the screen. It tells you where to go. I am in no way very techie, and the team love any change when you're trying to bring change into the day-to-day processes of time poor consultants. They want something that's right. I can immediately see this is going to be a win, and you want their buy-in. And actually, with Area, they bought into that as fast as they have anything else in the history of anything we bought. Normally, it's like, oh no, not again, Spence. What's this one? Not this one, please. And they strangely thanked me for this. So, I'll take that as a big, big win. That's a big endorsement if there ever was one. Obviously, from the consumer's perspective, that we're talking about immediate response. They get an immediate response. Yeah. They can set a callback time, viewing availability, and obviously, as Lars alluded to at the start of this sort of alternative property. There are some other ones that might suit your needs. So, people tend to come in on one, and actually that isn't the perfect one, but there are a couple round the corner. So I think from the consumer's perspective as well, it keeps them on quite a nice sort of tight pathway, but then helps them in their search for new property. So yeah, they're the sort of easy to use, the color coded situation, the way that the change was embraced by the guys upstairs. And the fact that the consumer has an easier digital journey in terms from sort of seeing something to setting up a viewing. So there's a lot there. There's a lot there.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And Lars, is that what you would have expected or hoped to hear from your clients?
Yeah, wow, I can just keep silent now. That's I could have pitched it better, guys. So thanks very much. No, they've literally hit the nail on the head with all the points they've made. So both Spencer and Ascent's teams have been using it, for a couple of years now. So they're fully engaged with the products, and it's great to hear that their front end teams think as much of it as the business leaders do. And I think that's Spencer said that's there's no better endorsement than that. So. Yeah, look, you can't, I think historically, estate agency leaders were very, very reliant on anecdotal evidence, weren't they, when speaking to their frontline teams? How busy you are, where are the leads coming from, which source channel is doing better than the next? And it's kind of a bit hearsay, really. And to be fair, that's all we could do. We didn't have that hard data, but the platform has all that hard data in there at a touch of a button, where how different your source channels are doing. Where the majority of leads are coming from, what time. So, as we all know, 55 to 60% of leads are coming overnight. It doesn't make sense for estate agents to be at hand, ready to pick up the phone to those customers. Those customers wouldn't want the estate agents to pick up the phone to them at that point, or probably email them. But why not give them the opportunity to carry on their registration digitally? That's what customers want. Give customers what they want, and it's proven to be true, because if you take away the percentage of spam leads that we get estate agents receive from the portals or whatever channel it is, and that's about 20%, the conversion rate of customers self-serving is 50% and above. So 1 in 2 clients are choosing to self-service, and to have, bear in mind 60% of your customers are registering with you or inquiring about a property when you're not there. To have 50% of those and more then go and provide information to you, so when your your frontline teams are there in the morning, ready to pick up the phone. They can build that rapport, prioritise those leads much more quickly than if it was just a basic lead from Rightmove, for example, where all they have to do is make the inquiry, leave a name and a telephone, an email and a telephone number, and not provide any other further insights about how motivated they are. So I think Spencer touched on it, and we've done a bit of data crunch on this, number crunch on this. We've looked at completions over a long period, over 6 months for sales and lettings, and for those clients that did provide some self-service, they're twice more likely to go on to do business with the estate agent than if they hadn't. But that's not to say that people that didn't self-service aren't still good customers. You're of course still going to contact them, but to know those people when the lead does land, there's one that's self-serviced against one that hasn't. I'm going to contact that one first and work that one a bit harder, because they're twice, 3 times as likely to go and convert and do business with us. So, that whole prioritization point, which both Asad and Spencer made, is essential, because we are swamped with leads, and you need to get to those more motivated leads quicker than your competitors.
I think that's really interesting. There is a real trend, isn't there, towards self-service. And for a while, it took a lot of businesses who prided themselves actually on service. Well, we're going to do that. It's our job to do it. And actually, that a sizable demographic, and indeed a growing demographic, they just want to be able to do that themselves. The immediacy of it, get it out of the way, and that's why being able to provide them with that option, they get what they need. And of course, what you're saying from that is the benefit is as well, they're going to get a better service realistically.
Yeah, I think that's the fear of some agents. They think it's an either-or conversation. It's not. It's just because someone's provided self-service, that doesn't mean you don't need a good quality agent at the other end of the line to then converse them, actually drill down into their search, and then start booking in appointments. Of course you do. It's just getting to that point quicker when you're not there to service them anyway, because 60% of your leads are out of office hours. So it's not an either-or argument. The two work in tandem. But yes, as agents are able to automate parts of their business more, and they really should be looking at that, yes, there's the possibility to possibly save them some wage costs, some headcount, but it's actually ultimately really about improving the customer experience. And that's where I think that the two sides of area really come into play. Yes, it's a lead management dashboard, and Spencer touched on it's really intuitive and a bit of state agency proof to make sure you can't break it or jump around too many places, unlike a lot of CRMs. But it's the customer experience that we're interested primarily. How can we help them get to a point of booking a viewing and expressing their motivations quicker than waiting for the estate agent to call them up the next day, or maybe not at all, as we know.
Spencer, did you
Yeah, just on that, on the consumer journey piece, with a self-service, what we found when we've done our sort of data analysis and spoken to people about what they think about the journey is they're actually further down the road. So mentally, they're more aligned with us because they think, well, it's not just an inquiry. I've done a bit more with these guys. I'm further down the track. So I think that the individual consumer is they're more aligned with us being, paramount than they would be if it's just sending a general inquiry, because they feel they've done a bit more. And that's really interesting, I think. And that's something that, a lot of people will miss off. That yes, this is something that we're going to try and help in efficiencies within our businesses and within our offices for our teams. But most importantly, as Lars said, it is all about the consumer. If we make it better for them, they're going to tell their friends and more will come. Yeah. And if they are further down the track and actually, we've all seen those progress things. It's 10%, 20%, 30%. They're just further down the line. They're a bit happier. They feel like they've completed a bit more rather than just sent a message into the abyss, hoping that someone will come back. And as Asad said, 50% of the people sitting there waiting for a response, they're never going to get one. It's that the consumer piece is massive.
Great. And Lars, I mean, there are obviously other lead management products out there. What do you feel differentiates Area in particular from those other ones that are available?
Yeah, there's a couple out there. There are some key differences without going into those particular businesses. But for area, it's the automation side. I don't know any other products that enables customers to self-service so fluidly, and for that data to land so clearly and succinct real time in a platform. Then also offers automated property matching. And we've got a great algorithm how that works, and that's adaptable to each estate agent and different geographical areas they might work. So yes, we're not the only player in this space, but I don't think it's right to, I guess, pigeon us as a lead management software per se. It's an automation piece really, and that's automation for the customer and automation for the user, the estate agent. So there's actually 50 plus different features Area's got now, too many to go into now, but just the fact that we can help prioritize those leads so quickly by having 50% plus of customers provide that self-service. I don't know any other product that does that.
Great. What advantages do you feel it gives you as a business?
What advantages, sorry?
Yeah.
I suppose you can do more with less people. So the efficiencies are definitely there. One of the advantages we've seen is that what we're not now doing is polluting our database with
that's a great one.
Unresponsive applicants. So Area acts basically as a filter. If we try and get hold of people and they're just not responsive, then they don't enter the database. They stay within the Area platform. If at a later stage they do get back in touch, it's still within Area, so you can see the history of that particular individual and what they've inquired on in the past. Now, what we haven't got in the database is, for instance, each negotiator with 500, 600, 700 people that they're trying to look after, that the majority of them are not responsive. What should be in the database now is responsive people we've actually spoken to, people that have seen properties. So really your hotter buyers are now in your database, and so you can manage them more effectively. And that's probably been one of the biggest sort of advantages for us is the database is still the source of truth.
Yeah.
All your hot buyers are going to be in there. An Area acts like a filter, really. And now what we've also done is we've integrated it with our CRM, which has speeded up even more.
That's great. I think I should probably put my hands up and apologise for all of the CRM people in there, because for years, haven't we, us and the email providers have just said, put everyone in your database, obviously, and then keep them turning over so you don't lose anybody. But what you lose with that is you lose the empathy, the connectivity. You talk about some of the older, more mature people in the industry and how much they rue the loss of the hot boxes, where you knew the buyer, didn't you? You could touch and feel it. And they do become numbers, kind of matrix style, don't they, when they go into these CRMs? And it's that classic almost, it's rubbish in, rubbish out. It's just if you can minimize that and ensure those hottest ones there, the conversion rates are always there. When we opened in Australia, one of the best agents over there at Marshall White, he turned it round completely on his head. And rather than, it was almost bragging rights. We've got 30,000 people in our database, 40,000 people in our database. He dropped it down to kind of 50 to start off with, managing those. And his figures beat the other 200 people who were in that business because, he was just able to work those far more effectively. Yes, there's got to be a place, hasn't there, I suppose, in email marketing for soft touch and nurturing. But what you're talking about, and if I understand anything about your businesses, it really is to make sure that we get to those, the 80-20, the Pareto, the hot buyers in the quickest possible time and deal with them efficiently.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. What about yourself, Spencer? And it might be one of the surprising features, one of advantages from Area. What do you feel it gives you?
So the data gives us different ways to make better business decisions. It points you in a better direction because you're making it something that's tangible to you, that's very specific to you and your agency and what your plans are for the future. So I love that about it. Time efficiencies, obviously repetitive red, we all want to lose that from our lives. So you know that the templates that you can set up, email templates for responding. So each different consultant has their own style. So flexible within a framework, so they have their own personality that they can put within, you know, within their dialogue with interested parties. As I said, the absolute key is that the quality of our data in our CRM is far, far superior than it was. And if that was the only thing, that would be plenty good enough. But from our perspective, it's making the sort of better business decisions, and also knowing that area have made this decision. It's quite evident that it's not done. It's not finished. It's a progressive thing. It's like, okay, well, what can we do next? I think Lars mentioned there's 50 different things, options that you can use within it. But what I love about it, then, the reason why they want to progress is as things change within the sort of Keaton's business, they're very much aligned, and they will listen to sort of real life problems. Lars and, you know, the back end sort of team, the tech team, have recently changed a few things that we specifically wanted for us, because we needed adjustments. It wasn't, we just wanted to see how it works. And it was very much an open dialogue, and not, you've got to wait for the next release. It was like they worked with us, and that was pretty special. You know, that's the difference between having like a proper collaboration rather than just paying a monthly bill.
Gents, just want to say thank you very much. I really do appreciate you spending the time to obviously give other people your feedback. It's incredibly useful to know there. Lars, again, sounds very, very exciting. Keep us up to date, obviously, with any other innovations, as I'm sure there will be loads of them.
Will do.
Thank you. Thanks, Simon.
Thanks, guys. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
Simon.
Have a great.
Cheers.
I don't catch up with you before.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone. Cheers.